It's playtime! Hey kids, it's me, Quackerjack. Woohoo! I hate to support that demented duck and say that you're listening to St Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. But it's better than playing Whittle Boy. Besides, Mr. Banana Brain says it's really a great show, Joe.
All right, and you know I got time for my boy. My boy is here today, Quackerjack. Welcome to the St Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo. And hey, did you know the longest recorded flight by a chicken is 302 feet 8 inches?
Yep. All right, Mike. How's it going, man?
Good. I learned something from this episode.
Oh, did you?
It's going good. This episode, I know it's dropping a week before Christmas, but we're recording this only a few days before Thanksgiving. And this has been so crazy. This year is the first year we're not going to see family because of COVID. So we're actually going to make our own Thanksgiving dinner. And everybody has to do something for the first time in their lives. This is going to be the first time ever I'm actually making a turkey.
What, Mike? You never made a turkey before?
No,
are you baking it or are you frying it? What do you plan on doing?
Baking it. Oh, frying? No. I wouldn't take a risk like that.
Okay, so you're gonna bake it.
Yeah, it's sitting in the oven, sitting in the fridge right now. Never done this before. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you'll be fine, man. Wrap it up in aluminum foil, season that thing up, man, and then just check it but I always check like every hour and a half and juice it up, man.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Usually we go to my wife's uncle's house and there's a whole bunch of us, like 20 some odd people there. And it's just, we can't do that this year, but I want my bird. I want turkey. And so does my daughter. So we're doing this.
Okay. I remember the first time I did it was probably like 12 years ago. It was when my daughter was first born. She was only one. Of course, she couldn't eat it, but I was like, this is going to be the time I need to learn. But, I was on the phone with my dad the whole night. I was texting him all in the morning, just making sure, using Google.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. But after that, man, I got confident. I just do it on my own now. Now I remixed it. No longer use his recipe. Use my own, remix it a little bit. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's a great experience, man. And it was crazy too. I didn't know how to carve it either, so I had to go on YouTube to learn how to carve a turkey. Yeah.
Hey,
man, but
we all have to do something for the first time eventually in our lives. So why not now?
Yeah, exactly, man. But man, Mike, a few quick announcements. By the time this one airs, we would had already announced the winner of our Darkwing Funko Pez giveaway. And we would announce our winner, the YouTube exclusive one of a Funko Pop, where they get to choose between Goslin, Megavolt, and Negatron. Whoever wins that gets to choose. I also threw another offer out there. I haven't checked my email yet. For those who've seen our Zoom chat and stuff, we have one of our buddies, Michelle. She has this army of plush, is what I like to call them, her army.
Yeah, whatever you guys are visualizing, visualize bigger.
Yeah. She literally has an army, and you cannot see the complete army when we're on video chat. She has a lot more. And I put a challenge out there. If you felt you have a plush army of your own that can compete with hers, I'm not saying you can beat it.
Yeah.
But can go 4 quarters or a 12-round boxing match with her. You can put up a good fight. I may give you something. I think that'll be very impressive, and it's not all Darkwing plushes, of course. She got all kind of Disney stuff. And other stuff we plan on giving away. We got some comic books we're going to be giving away soon. We got some other Disney pins, some DVD stuff, some more. I got a ton of Funko Pops to give away. They're not all Darkwing, but they're all Disney Afternoon related.
Yeah.
So.
Of course, listeners, some of this stuff may have already happened by the time you hear this, but Will has a ton of stuff, so there's no way we would have gotten through all of it yet.
Yeah. And like I said, we got a plenty of other stuff. From like I got extra Chip and Dale DVD sets in
You have
there.
comics too.
Got lots of comics, the Disney afternoon ones. That Definitely Dangerous. I'm really considering giving away my double one, the one that has a few creases on it.
Oh, this has to be a big giveaway, though.
Yeah, I may hold off on that. And I also have a Launchpad autograph Funko Pop that by Terry McGovern.
That one too.
Yeah, that one I think I'm holding off till we hit 1,000 people on our group page. I might do that one when we hit 1,000 or something.
Right.
I don't know. But anyway, man, let's get on. Mike, what episode are we talking about today? You better be nice, Mike. You better be nice.
I am making absolutely no promises with this one. It's been a long time in coming. Today we're talking about Quack of Ages.
Quack of Ages.
I think the title is a reference to Rock of Ages, which I'm not sure. It's either an album by the band, which is their name, The Band, or it's a Def Leppard song. I'm not sure what that is, but it's Quack of Ages. Finally, we get a Quackerjack episode again. It's been a while since we've gotten one of those.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I rewatched the episode. Do you want me to talk about it a little bit now, or you want to just kind of gradually talk about it as we get into it?
Let's go into it because at the end we're gonna have to rate it anyway. So
okay, all right. So let's, Mike. What's our production air date order, man?
Okay, so this one aired Wednesday, February 26th, 1992, and it was 56th in production order. Our story editor is Steve Roberts. We remember him. He wrote some of my favorite Darkwing episodes. This is the second one he was story editor on by production order, but it's his last one to air. So this is the last time we're going to talk about Steve Roberts. Our writer is no one we've talked about so far, and nobody will talk about again. This is somebody named Joe Olson. If you look on his IMDb, he literally, for writing credits, just has this one Darkwing Duck episode.
Oh, wow.
His only other credits, I don't even know if this is the same guy and somebody has the wrong info. An actor in 3 gore videos that were made between 2008 and 2015 with names like Cryptic Plasm and Blood Pigs.
What's gore video? What is that?
Like gore, like movies that have gore in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of odd. He wrote this one Darkwing Duck episode for kids, and he's an actor in gory videos. Something doesn't quite add up, but very interesting.
Maybe somebody with the same name, their names got kind of mixed up or something.
There are a lot of Joe Olsons on IMDb. I saw a bunch of them.
Okay.
But that could explain a few things with this one. And animation-wise, we have the not-so-triumphant return of Han-Ho Hwang-up.
Which one did they do?
They did Dirty Money and Double Darkwings. So they're not quite batting a good average right now with Darkwing episodes.
What was the production order on this one again?
56. So it's been a very long time, even by production order, that they've done a Darkwing Duck episode.
Okay, and they shouldn't have screwed this one up, man.
They really
being so far back.
Yeah, you would think they would have had their act together, and they're going to do some really great ones coming up. I mean, just one quick preview. They did Haunting of Mr. Banana Brain.
Oh, okay.
So good for them. But this one I think this one might trump the Steelbeak mistake from Cleanliness is Next to Badliness with the robe. Because in this episode, I don't know what happened, but throughout literally the entire thing, Quackerjack's eyelids, neck, and hands are all painted the same color as his beak and legs, which bothers me like crazy. It really, really aggravates me.
It definitely aggravates me as a Quackerjack fan. Before we started recording, remember I asked you about it. I said, hey, man, what the heck was wrong with his eyelids? And you explained it to me what was going on.
Normally they're colored the same color as his hat, but here they're orange. And most of his body, that means most of his body is orange in this episode. It's very distracting. And since it's in every single shot, that's like the worst Darkwing coloring mistake of all time, I would say.
Okay.
Han-Ho had their share of animation mistakes. We'll see more of that kind of stuff in their later episodes. But that's really all I want to say about the animation. It's very bland. There's almost no like life to it.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for the mistake, there'd be nothing to talk about as far as the animation goes. Do you have
Yeah.
anything besides that?
There's only one scene that stood out to me, but it's not even great. It's not something I would like, hey, Mike, yo, this scene looked awesome. I just like the very beginning when they're riding on the rat catcher you can see DW like he exploded from the bomb or something.
Right.
The
Okay.
way his impression, yeah, that's it. Other than that,
So,
nothing stood out to me. Nothing.
no, Han Ho Huang Up is very average. I actually like Sun Wu more than them. They have their moments in some episodes, though.
Mhm.
So why don't we good
Yeah, let's get it.
segue with the scene on the rat catcher. So that's how we start.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the plot. We got Quackerjack. He's being chased, but he's on a pogo stick and he's like hopping over skyscrapers. Kind of. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Nice mode of transportation for him, though.
Oh yeah. And then we got Darkwing. He's on the rat catcher, and LP says he mentioned something about him defusing a bomb.
I've never
And
seen someone do it that way before. Launchpad says
yeah, and then Darkwing says something about his body. He used his
absorb the
body.
blast,
Yeah.
and he's all charred. I like the
Yeah.
opening. I like how we start in chase mode.
Yeah,
I
I liked
do
it
like
too.
how it starts.
Yeah, and then LP has a tracking device where he can track where Quackerjack is. But how are they tracking him, Mike?
The tracking device is inside Banana Brain.
Yep.
Mhm. Smart.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Darkwing and LP, I don't know what that machine is called, but
Street sweeper.
the street sweeper, it flattens them.
Yep. Rat catcher and all.
Hmm. And they get tossed into some kind of, was it a yo-yo factory?
I think it's a warehouse. Because
Okay.
we have to set this up. Quackerjack's PO'd about the yo-yo for some reason. Like that's a big come down from video games. How could he possibly be threatened by yo-yos?
Yeah.
Even in 1991, who is playing with yo-yos?
I don't know, man. I mean, I had a yo-yo, but
My
was
daughter
I
loves
actually
yo-yos.
playing with it. You know.
But he's decided to go back in time to destroy the first yo-yo because he tried to blow up a yo-yo factory.
Mhm.
And what does he have? How does he do this? This is
I don't know.
significant.
Yeah, it was some kind of. It looked like a top or something. He was spinning around in it. What
Well,
was that?
it's the early version of his time top, only it's not the ride-on version from the next episode we're going to talk about.
Mhm.
It's a little version he stands on, and he spins, and he goes back in time.
Yeah. And then DW borrows the shush time machine. We haven't seen that one in a while, man.
And we're not going to see it again after this one.
Last time we saw it was what, Paradox?
Yep.
Okay.
Because
Dang.
the Quackerjack he's gone 700 years into the past.
Yeah.
Because the tracking device still shows he's in St. Canard, just not that time period.
Hmm. So the DW and LP, they travel to 1291.
This is such a stupid joke, and it's not even funny stupid. Darkwing goes, "We're going back in time," and Launchpad goes, "Oh boy, in time for what?" That's really bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, so they travel back to 1291 and they land right in the water as soon as they get there. And
Because there's no Darkwing Tower.
Yeah. So somebody's fishing and catches them.
Who is it?
Who's fishing?
Oh, you want me? It's Maid Binketh.
Binketh.
No prizes for knowing. Yeah, it's Binky.
All right, so from here on out, let's just call her Binky from here on out.
I guess she's cute in this one. She speaks in like old English dialogue, and she's all right. It's Binky.
Yeah, and Darkwing's demanding to her. He needs to see the king.
And she asks who he is, and I like this back and forth. He says, "What if I told you we're from 700 years in the future?" And she says, "I'd say you're a warlock and you should be burned at the stake." And Darkwing says, "We're from Sweden."
We're from Sweden.
There's some funny dialogue in this.
Yeah,
one
that's what I was gonna say. I will get more into it though, but yeah, man, I'll just spoil this right now. It's not as bad as I remembered it. It's not as bad. Okay, but I'm not gonna go any further into that right now. All right, let's keep going with this plot. Let's keep going with the plot.
So the king's carriage shows up. It's King Herb. And who's his minister?
Quackerjack.
Quackerjack is there, buddying up to King Herb.
Yep.
And because Quackerjack's whole plan is to destroy the yo-yo once King Herb invents it.
Yeah, and him and DW, they get into a squabble really quick, man. They don't waste no time.
Do you hear Darkwing call him a jackanape?
Yep.
Yeah, didn't Darkwing call himself a spud-mothering jackanape in the Justice Ducks episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he attacks Quackerjack, but then he gets thrown out of the carriage. So that didn't really work for him.
They didn't show it, but Quackerjack yelled guards, so we don't get to see the guards throw him out, though.
Yeah, it kind of cuts really quick to him flattened in the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then we get DW and LP. DW's talking to Binky first, and he's trying to break into the castle.
Yeah, here's this thing. This is my really big, besides just being a boring episode, here's my thing about this episode. I don't like back in time medieval episodes of cartoons. It's very cliched. I mean, Ducktales did it, and it was okay. But everything this episode does is so predictable. Like, all the stuff coming up of Darkwing trying to get into the castle was really played out like 30 years earlier when Friz Freleng was doing it with Yosemite Sam in the Bugs Bunny cartoons. I mean, it's pretty much what this is.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get in. He uses a battering ram. Then he uses a pole vault. He uses a Trojan horse. And he just keeps trying to get in. And he keeps failing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's such old jokes. I expect better from this show, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, the Trojan horse was like a Trojan duck, though, right? That's the only difference they did with it.
Yeah, and the whole joke is that Launchpad was supposed to be inside, but he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really out of character moment for Darkwing when Launchpad walks over and Darkwing gets so mad at him, he is ready to beat him with a big tree branch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Darkwing wouldn't hit his best friend with a tree branch, right?
Yeah, but then Binky finds her way into the castle, and Darkwing asks her, "How did you do that?"
They never locketh the back door. Okay, that works.
Yeah. So then DW and LP they get in, but the guards catch DW and LP.
Darkwing's like, "Do you have a phone? My car broke down. It's crazy." I know the dialogue is so strange in this one. It really is.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as they're caught, Quackerjack claims them as spies. He does that instantly. They're spies, Your Highness.
Quackerjack he's so out for blood in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Quackerjack is not playing around. He just wants Darkwing dead.
Yeah, but Darkwing he denies the spies claim, and he claims to be a sorcerer.
Yes, and Herb doesn't really care. I mean, King Herb is so blasé about everything; it doesn't really bother him. Herb is actually excited to see a magician. He's okay with it. And then Herb meets Binky.
Oh, he falls in love instantly, man. It's like love at first sight.
They're cute together, although I kind of wonder what this means about the Muddlefoot family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even want to think about like how that goes.
Yeah, you're thinking too deep, Mike.
I'm thinking way too deep.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that, logically speaking, but yeah, you're going way too deep for a cartoon series.
Oh, and Quackerjack asks Darkwing how he found him, and that's when Darkwing mentions the homing device on Banana Brain, which is the last time we see Banana Brain. Mm-hmm. Quackerjack throws him aside, and we don't see him again. But did you notice when Quackerjack picks up Banana Brain's eyes look at Quackerjack and his mouth opens?
Oh, no, I didn't catch that.
It's
I gotta
like
rewatch that.
For a split second, he comes alive.
Oh, okay.
Like the animators didn't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Darkwing decides to put on a magic show for King Herb.
Mm-hmm.
How's that go, Will?
It doesn't go too good. Well, actually, it doesn't go good, but it doesn't really matter because Herb's not even paying attention.
Yeah, which is good because Darkwing's a terrible magician.
Yeah, nothing's working.
No, he tries to do the bunny trick, and then Launchpad spends the rest of this act chasing bunnies around the castle. And then he tries the ring trick, and he just gives up on that. It's terrible. And Quackerjack's standing there saying, it's fake. Look, sire, it's fake. And it's just, like you said, Herb's not paying attention.
Nah, he's too in love, man.
But then Darkwing does a disappearing box trick.
But he needs Binky for it.
Yep, he puts Binky in the box, flips it around, and then what does Quackerjack do?
He takes her.
Yep, so when he opens the box again, she isn't in there. He tries to undo the trick. He can't get her back. And that's when Quackerjack accuses him of being a warlock.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, Herb he doesn't really care. He just wants her back. That's all he wants. He just wants Binky back, you know?
He doesn't want Darkwing punished, but he just wants Binky back. But yeah, Darkwing and Launchpad are brought to the dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guards bring them to the dungeon, and Quackerjack, he wants a confession.
Yeah, he wants Darkwing to confess he's a warlock. And we haven't mentioned yet that Herb keeps bringing out prototypes for the yo-yo. And they keep backfiring on Quackerjack. The first one was an anvil. The second one exploded on him, and there's one more later on in the episode.
Yeah,
and
I forgot we didn't even mention those, man.
no, it's just this episode. If I didn't take notes on it, I wouldn't remember the minutia of it. Just how it goes. So Quackerjack brings in two guys. Their names are Circumference and Surveillance. Funny stuff. And again, he's just trying to make Darkwing, confess to being a warlock. So he's torturing him.
Yeah.
He puts him on the rack, tries to stretch him out. And Launchpad has a funny line. Like, Launchpad's only funny line, really. When Darkwing gets thrown aside, Launchpad goes, hang in there, DW. I think he's getting bored. And what else does Quackerjack do to Darkwing?
The next one was, I think it was called the thumb screw.
Yeah, it's a giant thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And Darkwing, they copy a joke from Toys R Us, which I explained when we did that one. Darkwing says his correspondence course in thumb wrestling paid off. Like, that's verbatim the exact same joke.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? You can't have a correspondence course in thumb wrestling through the mail. It doesn't work that way. So again, they're just copying things. And then finally, what's the last thing that Quackerjack brings out to torture Darkwing?
This was what I had to ask you about. He brings out on this one. It was called Mr. Trivia. What?
Mr. Trivia Buff.
Okay.
The exact same doll from Toys R Us. Which
was Mr. History doll, right?
Doll. Yeah. So this is a similar doll, different function. And it throws in a couple of facts. One of them was the one about the chicken I said at the beginning. And Launchpad snaps immediately and says that Darkwing's a warlock.
That was so wrong.
He doesn't just do that. Launchpad signs the confession.
Yep.
Like, he does Darkwing so dirty with that. And then he's like, but what harm can it do? It's like he's not even using his brain.
Yeah.
They're going to execute Darkwing.
Yeah, he's going to be beheaded. But Herb says he doesn't want him beheaded. He only wants his Binky back. That's all he cares about. He just wants Binky.
Well, Quackerjack's like, we'll get Binky back once we, destroy the warlock. He says it with his mouth full. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Michael Bell was eating something when he recorded that. If not, he's really good because it sounds like Quackerjack has his mouth full.
Yeah.
I'll say it now. I don't love how Quackerjack was written because he's like so grumpy and out for blood and angry. But Michael Bell's performance in this one is very good, very nuanced. Right?
Oh, I love him. The laughter's there the whole episode. He's killing it, man. Michael Bell's all over it, man.
Does he ever say it's playtime?
Nah, he doesn't say it in this episode.
Maybe the writer didn't know he says it.
Yeah.
It's possible.
He never said it in this episode.
No. So, Darkwing has a way out of this.
Yep, he threatens everyone that he's gonna black out the sun
because they brought along an almanac which says it's supposed to be an eclipse.
Yep, but it's the wrong day, Mike. It's the wrong day.
Yeah, Launchpad was off by an entire day. So I'm gonna take a moment to digress. Disney has done on these Disney afternoon shows. They've done this entire idea twice already. I'll mention both of them quick. You've probably seen both episodes. There was a Ducktales episode called Allowance Day, where Scrooge and Fenton were in front of a firing squad, and the only way to prove what day it was an eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a Tailspin episode called The Time Bandit, where Rebecca Cunningham was in front of a firing squad. And again, the only way to prove what day it was a passing comet. So now they're doing the exact same thing a third time with an eclipse, which I don't know if it's lazy writing or it's just cliches, but, you know, it is what it is. But it's funny how they keep going back to the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So Darkwing has to stall
for 24 hours.
For an entire day. You notice he actually hits Launchpad. He takes the book and slams him over the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Launchpad exists in this episode just to annoy him.
Yep.
And Launchpad doesn't have much of a function. In fact, after this scene, Launchpad doesn't say a word for the rest of the episode. We don't even see him.
Yeah.
So he kind of goes away. So the eclipse does happen. I really like that when Darkwing predicts it, a lady goes, "My ficus will dieth." It's so stupid, but it does make me laugh. But then Maid Binky has been found. Where is she? Well,
she's in a dragon's cave.
Yeah, the only thing more cliched than everything we've gotten so far is if Darkwing had to slay a dragon. So he has to slay a dragon. Yep, because of course you're not in medieval times if you don't have to slay a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes up to the cave and tell us more about what happens next, Will.
Well, first the dragon destroys his sword, but then, you know, Darkwing comes up with an idea. You know, he goes in there and he tries to make a deal with the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon's just a big goofball. He's not all that threatening. And Darkwing's plan is, you know, if I pretend to slay you, no one will ever bother you again. And the dragon agrees. Now, again, another quick digression. This is also something that's been done so many times. There was a Disney movie called The Reluctant Dragon, where the whole story is a knight makes a deal with the dragon to pretend to slay him. And that goes back like 40, 50 years. Like, this is a very, very old plot line. In fact, I just watched a bunch of the new Animaniacs episodes that just came out on Hulu. And they actually did this exact same plot with Pinky and the Brain, where they make a deal with the dragon to pretend to slay him. And just like in this episode, the dragon overacts and keeps hamming it up and keeps coming back to life when you think he's dead. The exact same thing. I thought of this episode immediately today when I watched that Pinky and the Brain cartoon. So yeah, they make the deal. Darkwing, quote unquote, slays the dragon, who keeps overacting. He doesn't actually die. He just keeps, you know, overacting. It's ridiculous. And what happens next, Will?
Well, you know, Darkwing's not happy. He's trying to tell him he keeps overselling it and everything. So, Herb has a new. Well, they go back to Herb, but okay. Before we go any further,
we are struggling with this one, man.
Yeah, who was the dragon voiced by?
I think he was voiced by a voice actor named Paul Eating. I didn't know much about this voice actor till I checked his IMDb not very long ago. He has a really extensive career. He's not credited for any characters in this one, but since this voice doesn't sound like Bell, McGovern, or Cummings, it's got to be this voice actor. But which Transformer did he voice, Will? You're aware of this.
Oh yeah, Perceptor.
Who's Perceptor? What Transformer is that?
He was like a microscope. He was a nerd.
Isn't it funny how every voice actor we've talked about has played at least one Transformer and one Smurf?
Yeah.
We just keep coming back to those two shows. Okay, so they go back to the castle.
Yeah, they go back to the castle. You know, Darkwing has claimed he's slayed the dragon. Quackerjack's not buying it though quite yet. He's not quite buying it.
No, he's like, no way Darkwing slayed that dragon. The dragon does come in, still overacting, but it really doesn't matter because Binky's okay, and Herb asks her to marry him, and she says yes, of course. Did you notice when Binky walks in and accuses Quackerjack, she calls him Crackerjack?
No, I did not catch that. That sounds racist, man.
Well, Quackerjack is, it is Quackerjack. It's the food,
uh-huh.
which is what Quackerjack is named after. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that too. But she comes in and goes, "It was Quackerjack," and I'm like, "Oh man, I guess Susan Tulsky never had to say Quackerjack before, and she screwed up the line." So we get a fight. We finally get Darkwing and Quackerjack fighting, which is nice. Finally,
Yeah.
we get Nutty Putty comes back for the second time.
Mhm.
Not the last time though. He goes back to it one more time. One of my favorite jokes in this episode, Darkwing goes, "Men, a sword!" And all the knights throw swords at him and bury him in swords. And then you hear him inside the swords go, "Men, a tourniquet." Which is funny. I like that.
Mhm.
Quackerjack winds up a suit of armor which attacks Darkwing. My other favorite joke in this one, Quackerjack throws a bomb at Darkwing. Darkwing swings a mace at it. The bomb gets stuck to the mace. Darkwing goes, "Whoa," and then gives it to the suit of armor and it blows up.
Mhm.
I thought that was funny too.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
this ending has a few funny gags, actually. I will admit that.
when did Darkwing pull out that magnet gun from the gas
Yeah,
gun?
isn't it weird? He pulls out a magnet. He goes, "Suck reverse polarity from my magnet gun." Did this writer know what the gas gun was called?
I guess not, man.
Like, you would never call the gas gun something else entirely. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
gas gun.
Hmm.
And one more funny little joke. It does make me laugh. Quackerjack takes King Herb hostage with
With
a
a turkey.
with a turkey leg, and Darkin goes, "Put the turkey down." So that's kind of funny. It's got some funny jokes as we close.
Yeah,
Not enough to save it, but it's still kind of funny.
but we finally get to see somewhat of a yo-yo finally though.
Somewhat. How does
Yeah.
that work out? Who's the
It's
yo-yo?
Quackerjack.
One little bit of animation of Quackerjack actually spinning up and down like a yo-yo is actually really good.
Mhm.
That's like the one moment in the episode I was like, I like that shot.
This is
Apart
how they
from,
should have ended. They should have ended the episode like this, man. I hate the ending. I really do.
I do too. Because how does it end?
The dragon is still faking his death. He's still overselling it, man.
Yeah, he's like, what did he say? Win one for the Gipper, and then he gets hit with pies, right?
Mhm.
And then, oh, I hate this. Darkwing looks at the camera and winks, and the episode ends. It could have ended with just Quackerjack as the yo-yo and just ended it there.
Mhm.
And there is only one shot of Quackerjack painted correctly, and that's the last time you see the cast looking at the dragon. He's actually painted properly.
Oh man.
I know, right? And like you see that one shot, you're like, that's how he should have looked the whole time. What happened? I don't know. But with animation, you can't go back, especially back then when it wasn't digital. You can't go back and fix it.
Mhm.
You know. So that's Quack of Ages, and
All right, let's get into it, Mike.
I know you said you like it more than the last time you watched it. This
Yeah.
is an episode I dread watching when I marathon Darkwing Duck. The fact that I had to watch it twice for the podcast really, really wasn't fun. The second time I watched it for the notes, I was really having a hard time focusing. I just don't like this one. In
Okay.
fact, for years after it came out, I kept forgetting it existed. Um, I'm gonna rate
So,
it because it's
okay.
better to go with the lower rating first.
Uh-huh.
This is one of my all-time least favorite episodes. It's like the bottom two for the Disney afternoon episodes. One is below it, so I'm gonna give this one a half a star.
Whoa.
Hey, I can't build up to this for months and actually, not give it a score like this.
Okay.
I think it's a mess. I think it's really cliched. It's hard to sit through. The animation mistake is really, really distracting.
Mhm.
There's a few funny jokes which we mentioned that are humorous, but it's not enough to save it. Even Herb isn't doing much for me in this one. And Launchpad only exists to be annoying, and then he
Mhm.
drops out of the episode entirely. It's like little things like the gas gun being called a magnet gun and repeating old jokes. I don't like it. And since now that we've done it, now that it's over with, I'm kind of happy we're done with it. Okay. Which is a shame because it's a Quackerjack episode. I love him too, and it's a good performance from Michael Bell. But even that isn't enough for me. But let's get a little bit more positive. Give us your rating, Will.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me just talk about it first before I give my score.
Go for it.
Okay. I gotta own this is not a great Quackerjack episode. As much as I love Quackerjack, it's his worst one by far.
Yes.
To me, it's not even close, right? I definitely did like the episode better than how I remember it. I don't remember Launchpad being so funny in the episode, especially when he did the confession and all that. Ah, man, that part was so hilarious. Quackerjack, well, not Quackerjack, Michael Bell does a phenomenal job with the voice acting this whole episode, with the laughter, with the food in his mouth, the dialogue.
Yeah.
His voice is set, because there was one episode where I felt like Michael Bell's Quackerjack voice wasn't quite there yet, but that
might have been Whiffle While You Work.
Okay, Whiffle While You Work. That might be. Yeah, it isn't. Yeah. But on this one, it is there. It's definitely there. He's perfected it. I hate the drawings of the coloring of Quackerjack. Like you said, it was bothering me also. So I was like, I gotta mention this to Mike. I hope something's not wrong with me where I've never noticed this before. You know?
I wouldn't mind the eyelids or the neck. It's the hands, like the orange hands. It really bother me. It's like if Darkwing's hands were purple the entire episode.
The hands bother me, but the eyelids did bother me also. You said the eyelids didn't bother you? They really annoyed me. I guess because I'm a hardcore Quackerjack fan. So it really bothered me a lot, man. It was really annoying me. So there are some funny jokes, which you mentioned, several of them, but there are also some jokes that miss, Mike. There's some jokes that miss really bad, Like
old boy in Time for What?
Yeah.
That's bad.
There's several of them that miss really bad, man. I don't know, man.
Got any other examples that we didn't mention?
Not off the top of the head.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this episode. I told you a score earlier, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go a little lower than what I told you earlier. I'm gonna go 1.5.
Still higher than mine.
Still higher than yours. I think Quackerjack helps it. LP helps it a little bit, but overall, it's not a great episode. As much as I love Quackerjack, I can't do it. I can't oversell it either, man.
I know.
Yeah, I got to be honest,
Even our favorite characters star in bad episodes. It is what it is. But it's just a shame he was only in 5 solo episodes, and this had to be one of them.
Yeah.
We
got it over with.
But the good thing is, this episode, I should have mentioned earlier, begins what I've always called the Quackerjack trilogy.
Okay.
Because it's 3 consecutive episodes with him in it, and each one builds on something the previous episode introduced, even though they weren't made in this order. It's nice we're getting a lot more Quackerjack next couple of episodes.
Okay.
Should I tell what the next one is?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we're jumping up in quality to what many people say is one of the greatest Darkwing Duck episodes of all time. We're talking about Time and Punishment next week.
Okay.
That's
a fan favorite.
That's a phenomenal episode. We finally got Goslin back. Been a couple of episodes. Quackerjack and Megavolt.
I like that duel.
And Dark Warrior Duck. And Dev Ross is back.
Hey.
Yeah. whenever we mention her going forward, we're gonna be really excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike,
she wrote some really great ones coming up.
Yep, definitely, man. But all right, Mike, man, for the people listening to us for the first time, where can they find us at, man?
Okay, we're sorry if you're listening to us for the first time and this is the episode you joined us on. We hope you enjoyed it, though. Okay, so we are on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, also Amazon Alexa. We are on YouTube, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Pandora, and iHeartRadio. I think that was every single one, so we are super accessible. There is no excuse for not being able to listen to us. Will, do you have any shout-outs tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little different on this one. I'm going to go with a little bit of the cast. I want to give a shout out to Dev Ross and Susan Silo. Thank you guys so much for joining our Zoom chat recently. By the time this one aired, it wouldn't be as recent, but hey, I still wanted to say thank you publicly, even if y'all don't listen to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. It was nice to be able to talk to you guys, have you guys do flash quacks and interviews with us too.
Mm-hmm.
Always wonderful to talk to them.
All right, yeah. So that's Quack of Ages, Mike. You're finally done with it. You don't have to talk about it ever again.
Well, now I have to build up the next one that I hate.
Okay.
one I like less than this one. I won't mention which one it is, though. We'll wait till we get closer.
Okay. All right. So, guys, thank you all for tuning in. And remember, stay dangerous.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.